There were 4 separate occasions and girlfriend still denied it. Part 1. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. My GF of 2.5 years, Monica, cheated on me on 4 separate occasions. I come back from a month-long trip out of the country and first weekend back I happened to find all kinds of messages with her group of friends about her sexual escapades. And they were discussing it as if it was completely normal. They did not even ask, what about your BF? On confronting her about it in person that Friday night, she denied specific encounters that I knew happened because of the convos I read. When she got a sense that I may have read some messages of hers rather than being honest and confessing, she was just denying and thinking about which convos I may have read. I could see it in her face that she calculated what information to provide to damage control in case I had not read everything. She denied and eventually confessed but lied. She said she didn't want to, this guy was aggressive with her, she was drunk, it was a mistake, etc. But the messages say completely otherwise. She cheated over a span of 7 months with 1. An old hookup buddy. Just purely sexual, and the messed up part was she invited me to a party where he was there too and didn't even tell me. All her friends knew too. I was basically walking around with a sucker sign on my forehead. 2. With a guy she met and hung out with over the summer. They went on to hook up all summer, eat ice cream, watch Netflix together, etc. all while I was at home in our house. She was in another city every other weekend and this was going on there. Not just sex but very relationship-y stuff. Which is both an emotional and physical betrayal of our relationship. Also, she was saving up for school, so when she moved in with me, she wasn't sure about paying rent but wanted to keep paying rent in her apartment in the other town. Because she wanted to keep her sense of identity/belonging in the city that she loved in case this didn't work out. It made no sense to me based on the context of trying to save as much money as you could to go to grad school. Anyway, while she was living rent-free at my place, she was basically hooking up with all these people when she went to visit her place in the other town. 3, which is most recent. While I was out of the country to visit my parents this Christmas holiday, she basically agreed to meet up on a date with a guy from where we live. Keep in mind that she was living in my place while this happened and while I'm away. She went on a date, and basically acted like she was single. This guy had no impression that she had a BF. Long story short, they hooked up in a bathroom at a bar. Yep, that kinda girl. Worst part is it was a person that we both knew as acquaintances through mutual connections. 4. While she was traveling for work. She basically met a friend and made out and did stuff at a hotel lobby. She cried and apologized and said she was messed up. Her form of being honest was giving me access to her Facebook to see everything for myself. She claims she has a hard time having confrontational/difficult convos, which is true based on her work, etc. So she built up resentment for me over the past 8 months for some stuff I did that upset her. But she never spoke to me directly about it and took out her frustrations and resentment physically by cheating. But the texts I saw on FB between her and her friends were so casual about cheating. For instance, she'd text her friends things like, "So just hooked up with this guy, it was great, etc. etc. and her friends would just want to know more, and when they mentioned me in the context of, "Would your BF be okay with this?" Her responses were messages like this: 1. I don't think so. It sucks that I can't figure out my polyamorous ways. 2. We have a don't ask, don't tell thing going, which was not the case. 3. I wish I could figure out a way to have a one-sided open relationship, which, by the way, without my knowledge isn't that, but is in fact adultery. Or 4, I just want to hook up with the world, I wish I could just do that, etc. etc. You get the point. Very nonchalant about cheating. In fact, in a text she messaged her friend asking if she was a psychopath because she didn't feel guilty at all. And only for her friend to respond, "You shouldn't feel guilty, you simply put your desires over your relationship and that's okay." To be fair to her, the things she pointed out about our relationship issues were fair. She begged me to hang out in her town as it's a big part of her identity, but I really didn't because I prioritize my work. She said we should hang out and do more things together like walks, dates, etc., which we didn't do too much because I prioritized work stuff. And she is extremely extroverted but moved to my town, smaller town than where she moved from, and lived with me, and I had a fairly quiet social life. So she did change a lot of things in her life for me. And I recognize my issues and have no defense for all the things she pointed out. I really agreed with all of them. That's what makes this really hard. She talked about her family past and family abuse between her parents and psychologically how it has made her a messed up person. She says she's cheated in all her past relationships probably as a mechanism to avoid hard conversations. She's always cut and run when shit gets tough. But with me she wants to work on things. I see and agree with all her points that made our relationship strained, but I don't think it justifies her actions at all. She's begging me to give her a chance to change. Does she deserve that opportunity though? I messed up and didn't do the no contact thing. I ended up asking her tons of questions for weeks and just being a very beta person. She and I did meet up and were intimate, but there were so many little things past finding out that she did that showed both red flags that this is systemic. But also actions that seem too small for me but are a big deal to her that showed she made sacrifices for the sake of our relationship. Right now I'm just lost. I expected this to be my partner for life and this just ripped my life apart and I'm feeling so lost in life at the moment. Update 2. The post-finding out situation. It's been a hard month. Post-finding out, we chatted over WhatsApp as for her it was a better means to communicate and express her thoughts. She does bad with confrontations and from what she says due to her past trauma she doesn't handle confrontations well. And her natural coping mechanism is to fawn like people please. Or to tell people what they want to hear to not upset them. A couple of messed up things happened post-finding out that really irked me. 1. We decided to meet up on a weekend to talk through everything and try to move forward. When I say we decided, I really just told her I'd like to meet on Saturday. She likes to plan ahead and certainly doesn't like to cancel or change things last minute. She mentioned she had a ton of work planned out and other social plans but she'll move things around so that we can meet on Saturday night. I meet her Saturday night at 7 p.m. and she tells me when I get there that she still has a dinner plan at 9 p.m. with one of her friends, a friend I know as well, really an acquaintance, not a really good friend. I was really upset. I'm walking into this thinking this is the night we talk through everything to try to save the relationship and she made plans for dinner. And just really only giving us 2 hours. She didn't want to budge on canceling it even though I knew the person would not have seen it as a big deal. To her this was her means of starting fresh by being honest and not lying or holding back on what she wants to do only to build resentment towards me later. So she wanted to set this boundary and not cancel her dinner plans. I thought this was super messed up given I put so much weight on this night and she clearly didn't. To her I felt it was like okay let's talk to him and make sure I answer all his questions and make sure he's okay, and then go on with my night. She promised to meet up after dinner. And in fact on her Uber to dinner around 9 she says yay babe I realize this night is important I shouldn't have gone through with the dinner. I'll come home early to your place so we can finish out the talk and hang out. She had the choice to come home whenever she wanted to but she ended up coming to my place at around 12:45 a.m, she left at 9 p.m. Which to be fair, that's cool if we can talk all night and figure our shit out, it was a Saturday after all. But when she comes home, we hook up once which was great, about to hook up again and she mentioned she has an 8 a.m. start to the day tomorrow for work so we should go to bed. Which pissed me off because she basically stayed out for dinner till 1 a.m. knowing she had an 8 a.m. start. Knowing I wanted to talk through our shit, essentially knowing we'd only have an hour or so to talk before she had to go to bed. There are more to come. Find out the update of this story, check our channel or the description. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.